November 6, 2018, the anxiety surrounding the midterm elections had swept America. Americans were constantly wondering who would control the houses of Congress, but after a tough battle between the Democrat and Republican Party, the Democrats were victorious in securing the House while Republicans the Senate. This was a significant win for the Democratic Party, as they had finally obtained the House back after 8 straight years. This was also important as it meant Democrat and liberal progression would occur within Congress. But while Democrats were succeeding in the political scene, Republicans were still losing. In July 2018, Brett Kavanaugh, a Republican candidate who was attempting to become a Supreme Court judge, was accused of sexually assaulting Christine Blasey Ford by Ford herself. Christine Blasey Ford, a current professor at Palo Alto University, revealed that Kavanaugh, alongside one of his friends, had attempted to rape her during a high school party in the 80s. Despite the allegations, the White House had announced on October 4th that there was no correlation between these allegations and Kavanaugh's past. Although there was no correlation, this situation had created doubt toward Republican judges and had made the Kavanaugh trials relevant in American history. Many other things that occurred with and without the U.S. On April 27th, South and North Korean leaders met for the third time in their history. The meeting between the two was extremely important and historic, as President of South Korea Moon Jae-in and President of North Korea Kim Jong-un agreed through discussion upon the Panmunjom Declaration. This declaration was revolutionary because it had ended the Korean conflict and allowed for the beginning of a new era of peace and prosperity alongside improvements to inter-Korean communication and relations. Additionally, another historic deal in 2018 was between the two African countries of Ethiopia and Eritrea. Signed on July 9th, this deal was necessary for both countries because it ended the fierce border conflict between the two. But not only did it repair the border conflict, it also helped end the Eritrean-Ethiopian War. The successful endings of these serious conflicts had allowed for a revival in diplomatic relations, trade, and immigration. But in other cases, deals were not signed, but rather broken. In 2018, we saw the U.S. withdraw from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, also known as the Iran nuclear deal. This decision had pleased many U.S. conservatives as they viewed the deal as weak, while liberals, such as former President Barack Obama, and various European nations viewed it as a regretful decision. The United States' exit from the deal had split the American people on whether foreign affairs were being handled properly. But economically, the U.S. had thrived. The U.S. GDP had increased by 2.9% in 2018, but there was a decrease in industrial production and trade due to high protective tariffs that were implemented to retaliate against other big economies such as China. But even though the American economy experienced this, the economy was able to expand due to tax cuts and increased spending, which allowed the U.S. to outpace other major economies, therefore solidifying itself as the number one economy in 2018.
In 2018, there was a debate over net neutrality. The idea of net neutrality is that giant telecom companies have to treat the net and the flow of the web that goes to the consumer as an open highway. They can't pick and choose which websites or services get to you faster or slower. The fear is that if they do have that power, they will be tempted to favor their own content, their own sites, and their own videos over competitors. In 2014, the Federal Communications Commission under President Obama wanted to lock in net neutrality rules to promote an open and free internet, but it faced intense pushback by the industry. These laws did pass and they have been in place for 3 years. However, Ajit Pai, President Trump's new FCC chairman, wanted to get rid of these rules and allow telecom companies to regulate the internet. September 12th, Apple released their iPhone XS along with their so-called budget version, the iPhone XR. With the newest innovations such as an all-screen glass and Face ID and an advanced camera system, the sales of the iPhone XR soared despite the price of the product. The price was around $750 to $800 depending on the amount of storage you bought, making it the third most expensive iPhone after the iPhone X and the iPhone XS. However, the iPhone XR was the most popular product that Apple sold in 2018, making it the best-selling model of 2018 in the US and claiming 39% of US sales in December. On September 12th, European Parliament approved amendments to the controversial Copyright Directive, which was a piece of legislation to update copyright for the internet age. This legislation was one of the biggest pieces of legislation in Europe that polarized the population. Critics said that the vote was signing the death of the internet, while supporters congratulated themselves for saving the livelihoods of up and coming artists and keeping back the US tech giants. However, the change hadn't happened yet, and the people anxiously waited for the second vote from the European Parliament, which would happen in 2019. This legislation, specifically Articles 11 and 13 of the directive, sparked outrage in the public because they would put a filter on what people can view on platforms like YouTube and Instagram, and they would increase censorship on the internet. The opposition of this legislation was vast. There were movements like the hashtag Save the Internet movement, and it led to the biggest petition to stop the passing of the legislation, which amassed over 5 million supporters.
Reports of murder and extremism in 2018 was connected to the right-wing extremists. To understand what the meaning of right-wing is, basically you would oppose socialism and social democracy, going against the United States government. In 2018, domestic extremists killed at least 50 people in the United States. From reports shown, it concludes that these murders have increased from the 37 murders of 2017. Yet the number of earlier years makes 2018 not as high in domestic violence and attacks. In 2016, there were 72 deaths, 2015, 70, and in 1995, 184 deaths. Since the number of deaths had reached 50, 2018 made the list for the 5 most deadly years for domestic extremist killing. October of 2018, another hurricane, Hurricane Michael, was the strongest hurricane since 1969. The speed of the hurricane was 155 miles per hour, leaving a death toll of over 60 and damage worth of $15 billion. After that, in November, occurred the California wildfires, which burned down many residencies, affecting over 2 million people, as well as leaving a death total of 104. In Maryland, a major flood had destroyed its main street in Ellicott City. Also in California, a series of mudslides occurred, leaving 23 dead and 2 victims not found.
AirPods skyrocketed in entertainment, bringing a new technology to people's hands never seen before in the industry. With this new technology, it brought a new wave of memes, including a simulation of social hierarchy regarding the AirPods. For example, having AirPods was seen as being of a higher class or having a higher income. A very ignorant thing to believe, but was a very popular belief.
Olympics, held in South Korea, between February 4th and the 25th. Norway led the total medal count with 39, followed by Germany with 31 and Canada with 29. The FIFA World Cup took place in Russia June 14th to July 15th. The champions of the tournament were France, who got their second title and were the youngest team in the tournament. Super Bowl 57, February 4th, was played by New England Patriots and Philadelphia Eagles. The score was 41-33 in favor of the Eagles, making it their first Super Bowl win since 1960. Infinity War. It is the 20th movie of a 10-year Marvel series. This movie connected a widespread variety of characters loved by many fans from several different movies. Seeing all of them together on the big screen was remarkable. This movie was such a big deal because of its ultimate superhero mashup, never seen before at this scale. This movie included at least 22 different heroes from the cinematic universe. On Infinity War's release, it had the biggest opening weekend in a single territory. Infinity War made $257.7 million on its opening weekend. And I mean, come on, This man really wiped out half of the living creatures in the universe. How can it not be good?